The seventh section you want to be paying attention to is your volunteer experience. And this is a section that a lot of new immigrants tend to take for granted. Because if your experience is very similar to mine, we tend not to, in some cultures, it seems like you're bragging about volunteering. And in some cultures, some of the things we do are not even considered volunteering. So if you volunteer in your religious organization now, a lot of cultures do not even see that as volunteering. They see it more as just giving your time for the love of the Lord in that context, right? So your volunteer experience section should include your volunteer roles, the organizations you've worked for, dates of service, your key response, very similar to your professional experience section. However, I've found that some people have so much on their resume in terms of their professional experience that they're struggling to include, to find space for the volunteer experience section. I would say in that case, you might be able to combine the roles, or you might be able to just use a paragraph to capture your key responsibilities in each volunteer role. I have used it and it worked. I've, suggested to people that they use it and it worked for them. So that's something that you might want to consider. Again, the purpose of this section is to highlight your community involvement. So community involvement is very important in Canada. It's woven deeply into the fabric of the Canadian society. So an average recruiter or potential employer is, very interested in your volunteer experience. And as I was saying the other time, do not underestimate or, do not undermine the amount of work you have put in from your home country. So things like supporting your religious organization, your professional association, your neighborhood association, your non-profit organizations within your area, even if it's a passion project that you embarked on, you might want to also include that, as long as it's something that you were not paid for. It wasn't part of your professional experience. It was just something, maybe a problem you saw and you did something to solve the problem, a project you initiated. So things like that are things that can count as professional experience for you. And then, this can help to show that you really do care about the community and can show the potential employers if there's a fit in terms of what you care about and what they care about. This is where it would benefit you to go review the organization's website to see the things that they care about, the things that they talk about, the initiatives that they're interested in, and then you can do your own reflection to see if you've ever been interested in things like that, if you're currently interested in things like that, and then find a way to bring that into your resume. If you didn't have any volunteer experience from your home country, this is a good time for you to begin to think, look around you and see if you can begin to volunteer in any capacity for organizations, within your area of expertise. One thing I'd like to draw your attention to, though, for volunteering is try to volunteer in the direction of your career experience or your career interests, right? So if you're interested in project roles, you may really want to volunteer for positions around, planning an event, planning, things that are project related. If you're interested in leadership roles, you may want to consider volunteering on committees, on boards, in ways that give you that leadership experience. So just try to do some reflection, which is why that reflection I mentioned earlier is very important. Try to do some reflection so you can take on volunteer opportunities that, that give you the opportunity to add to the community, to give to the community, whilst also giving you the opportunity to explore interests, things that align with your career interests and experience.